So during this video, I'm going to go over why there are issues with the basic technique, which I provided in the last video for removing off-white backgrounds on images. So it'll be quite obvious once I show them to you, and we'll then go into how to fix these issues. So let's repeat exactly what we just did. So I'm going to cut out the area by clicking on the magic wand tool, setting the tolerance to 30, and then let's cut. And we have that white background, and everything at first glance seems right, but it's actually not. Let's go and select the zoom tool and go to the top right, and we'll see there's this whole area here which wasn't selected. If we go down, and there's all these pixels here and all these pixels there that weren't selected. The whole background here on the far right hand side wasn't selected. If we go back a bit and look here, there's a botch. And lastly, if we look here, there's a whole bunch of jaggedy edges here. So we'll need to get rid of these issues, and that's basically it. So let's look at how to do that. So let's undo, and then let's use the magic wand tool again, and let's try increasing the tolerance. So this way it gets more stuff, it cuts out more things. So let's cut again. Okay, so let's examine again. So I put it up to 60. Okay, this blotch is still there, but it's a little smaller than it was before. Cut around that area. We don't have all those blotches. Got rid of the stuff on the corner here, and got rid of this whole area. So that seems good, but there's going to be other areas that are bad. Look at here. This has all been botched here. So we'll have to come up with a different solution or play with our tolerance back and forth. But there's a really good way of getting around this that's way more productive than just playing with the tolerance tool forever. So we'll undo again. And what we'll do is we'll set it back to 0. And we'll just go back to 30. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll try fixing this now, but using another tool. So let's zoom in, go to the problem areas. Let's start off with this most simple one. So the little blotch between the two pictures here. So let's go to the rectangle tool at the far right hand top corner of the tool menu. And this is called the rectangle marquee. So it allows you to make new selection, add to selection, subtract from selection, or intersect with selection. So what we're selecting with the magic wand is the area we want to cut out. So we want to add to the area we want to cut out if we want to cut out this blotch. So what we do is we click on Add to Selection. And then what we do is we just go over it, and now it's added to the selection, which is way easier than just increasing the tolerance over and over again until we get what we want. So we got to get or find really a balance between the two. Then we see that it hasn't all been selected here, although it appeared to be. So we just keep on adding. And we just go manually around, looking for areas that weren't quite selected. So we'll just go through this slowly. Everything seems good for this row thus far. But if you look at the right-hand side of the last row, you see that it wasn't all selected there. It was selected mostly, but not all of it, and it's slightly crooked, but we'll deal with that in a different video. So let's just manually add it as much as we can. And there. So I think we've selected everything we can, and that's about it. Now let's look at subtracting areas. Is there any area which we don't want to be cut out? So this area here, we don't want it to be cut out. That's supposed to be there. So we change our tool up here in the controls to subtract from selection. So we don't want this added. Let's see if there's anything else which we want to delete. Is there anything selected which shouldn't be selected? No, that's good. So now we'll cut it off. And now there seems to be no obvious pixels besides these here, which need to be cut out. There seems to be some botched edges here, but we could deal with that in a moment. But otherwise, everything seems to be good. Now, as you see, there's a whole area here which we want to get rid of and clean. We have the marquee tool, so we could actually just use it manually. We just select an area, we could just cut it out. So say if I want to get the area I selected here, I could just cut it and that'll work perfectly fine. So let's go up and select an area here. And cut it. This area is going to be harder to collect or cut because it's at a corner there, so I'm going to use the magic wand. But it's too much because it looks jaggedy, so I'm going to increase or decrease the tolerance just to get rid of that edge. And I think those are the main areas. Now, what we want to do too is we see all these jaggedy areas and we want to clean that up. For that, we use the blur tool. So it's right here. So it looks like a drop of water. I won't go over that in detail. But one way we could use it here is we just rub over this area like that. I'm just rubbing over it, making it smoother. You can just do this quickly, it's easy. Let's just look around if there's anything else that needs to be blurred. This area right here. And like other tools, it has strength and other things in the controls. This area here is a bit odd because it provides that line, but really what we wanted was an angle, so we use the magic wand again. Puts tolerance to 30. And actually, I don't really see the purpose of it, so we'll just cut it out completely. And there's some edges here. It's for sharp. And I think that's about it. So in this video, I've gone over some of the issues with the former technique and how to do blurring, how to deselect and select areas, and that's about it. And you should be able to do a pretty good job of cleaning up these photos with that. And the more detail and more work you put into it, the nicer it will be. But there'll be only so much detail that the clients will notice by any means. And the last part I'll go over here is the text. As you can see, the text, it's not going to get the inner part of, like, say, a P if we selected outside. If you like to make it a little cleaner, you could always select within these and cut out areas, but it really depends upon how much detail you feel like putting into that. And those are the main issues, and those go back to 0. So press Command 0 and just look at it overall, because that's how the client's going to see it. And does this look nice? And go back all the way to the beginning. Let's look at the before. And let's look at the after now. It's quite extreme. So I'm going to put here again a new snapshot. Finished. Version 1. So now we've gone over it, and all you need to do is file save, and it'll be good, and I'll be able to export it. And I won't go over how to export it in this video, but I'll be able to create a script to do that some later time. In essence, it's going to file, here, export, save for web, and then I want to make it in JPEG, quality maximum, and then I'm going to save, and I'm going to save it somewhere. And then we'll be able to process that into the various sizes and then use these images. And so that's basically what we want to do here. I've shown how to fix some of the photos. If you want to fix some of the photos, you could follow some of the guidelines I gave with or examples I gave with the other example. And I'll probably create a second video that will just show me doing the work for another more difficult case.